Hi everyone, Owlvine here. This week on Starting Out Solitary, we're talking about being a pagan child or teen or being a pagan with parents who disapprove. First of all, I'll just mention there's quite a bit of noise happening in the background, so hopefully you won't be able to hear any of it, but it's school holidays at the moment, so it's kind of hard to find a quiet, peaceful time and place currently. So excuse that if there is any yelling or screaming in the background. So the first part of the question is being a child, teen or pagan. I don't have any experience with this myself. I came into this path about 2 years ago when I was 25, so I kind of bypassed that whole stage. I did have quite pagan ideas as a child and a teenager. Any of those though were quite squashed in me or quashed by my parents. So the second half of the question, which addresses being a pagan with parents who disapprove, I can definitely talk on. My mum is a very devout Christian and she doesn't currently know that I'm a pagan. I've never raised the topic with her currently. This is because so far I've felt very unsafe to do so. She very openly disapproves of anyone who believes differently to her, and she is very passionate about that. So for me, so far, I've felt that the best course of action for myself, for my family, and for her is for her not to know. And that goes with my sisters as well who live with her. So no one in my family knows. My immediate family knows, so my husband and, my son's around. He has an idea. I haven't really kind of spoken with him a lot about it. Like, I haven't used my labels with him. But he knows my ideas and things like that. So I'm kind of a bit weary with him just because he is at the stage where he easily repeats whatever. And he's done so as well. About different things about Mama Earth and things like that to disapproving parents, and also my in-laws are devout Christians as well. So he's repeated things and it hasn't gone down terribly well, but there hasn't been a lot of inquiry into where he got these ideas, even though I'm pretty sure my mother-in-law knows. So I feel like this is quite a difficult topic to address because it's kind of generalized advice and each situation is so different. Living with people who you know would disapprove of what you're doing spiritually is a really difficult thing. When I came into this path, though I wasn't a teenager or a child, I was living with my in-laws at the time, and as I mentioned, they would not be too crash hot with this whole deal. So discovering my path then, it was really hard. Like, I had to hide a lot of things and I was afraid of being discovered. And it actually made me quite angry at times that I couldn't share, this amazing, wonderful thing that was happening to me with these people who were supposed to love me so much, or who do love me so much, I should say. But at times it felt like they didn't, because I was like, it's supposed to be unconditional love. So being someone in that situation, there can be anger, there can be resentment. I really do understand that. I think that if you're in this situation and you're considering coming out, telling your family about it, or friends even, to really consider why you want to, firstly. Is it because you want to just be able to speak your truth? Is it because you feel like there's some kind of gap between you and the person that you haven't told? All kinds of reasons. Sort of think about why you want to tell them. The other thing to consider is what you think their reaction may be. Now, you can be surprised. I've heard of people whose parents have been very accepting. I've heard of people whose parents have not been accepting. There's kind of a spectrum, but I think generally speaking, you should have a fairly good idea about where people stand on this kind of thing. So if you know that they will be heavily disapproving, maybe it's not worth telling them. It probably really depends on what age you are too, and how long it will be until you can kind of, you know, move out and kind of be on your own. For me now, I feel fine with them not knowing, because I've got my own home now and I can express as I like. I have my own room which I can lock in this house, my witchy room, so no one comes in here, no one can see it. My family doesn't know what's in here, they've never seen it, and surprisingly they don't really ask. So it can be difficult if you've come out about something like this. You can't kind of retract that, and sometimes, and this is not to scare anyone, I mean, you know your parents and your family, I don't, but sometimes there can be really uncomfortable repercussions, and at other times it can really clear the air and be a wonderful thing. So I mean, it's impossible for me to say, but you kind of have to weigh up those things and think, you know, what is best in your situation. And for me, I am feeling like it's probably just about time to come out and talk to my family. So the way I'm going to do this, or the way I have been doing this, is very slowly kind of introducing my ideas into conversation. So instead of coming out one day and going, bam, mum, I'm a witch, by the way, I'm slowly introducing small ideas. You know, they know that I'm not going to church. Obviously, I haven't for a long time. You know, different things like that, like kind of loosening and massaging, if you will, the situation. Another thing to consider too is perhaps don't use explosive terms or words. So a word like witch, if you are a practitioner of magic, or, you know, wizard, or, you know, whatever word you use. The word pagan can be quite explosive as well. So instead of coming out with the label of what you are, explain the long way through other words what your beliefs are, if that makes sense. Because people have, you know, IRs, or internal representations of what they feel those words mean. So for your parents, if you explained that you're a pagan, you know, in a long roundabout way, they might be like, okay, cool, that doesn't sound so bad. But if you say I'm a pagan, maybe in their minds, for whatever reason, that, you know, they have quite a negative IR of this. So that's another thing as well. So that's all I kind of have to say on the subject, just because I don't know any specific situation here. It's very kind of generalized advice, or generalized talk about this topic. But yeah, consider why you want to come out of the closet, as such, the broom closet, and consider what your people's reaction might be, and then kind of weigh it up, you know. And the thing is, once they know, and can only get better from there, right? It can be an incredibly freeing thing, and I'm looking forward to doing it, kind of just to air it out and not have to hide that part of me anymore, you know. I think that's a really wonderful thing. Another thing I'll quickly mention is there may be no need to kind of share your paganism. The thing is that, you know, the wonderful thing about paganism is it can be practiced without stuff, you know, like the earth is sacred. The things around us are sacred. They are what we look to and we revere. So there isn't need for stuff. I know we like the stuff, and if you have stuff, then obviously, if you have stuff, and the more stuff you have, you know, things, trinkets, I don't know, statues, you know, whatever, that obviously makes it a lot more likely that you're going to be discovered. But you can have things around you that aren't, you know, screaming, I'm a pagan. You know, leaves and sticks and rocks and things like that, and kind of create your space that way. That's what I did when I lived in my house previously. You know, I just had a lot of natural objects around me, and it just looked nice, you know. So when my mother-in-law came in the room, or if my mum came over as well, it just looked like, you know, a room that, you know, was very, very me. I hope this has been helpful. I know it's kind of been a bit all over the place, but if you are thinking of coming out, be safe, and know that online here there are a lot of supportive people who have been through that process, or will just stand beside you as you go through that process. You know, there is a wonderful community online in all different places, but I know particularly on YouTube, I've experienced that one myself, who will be here to support you. So I wish you much love and many blessings, and I will see you next week. Bye.